This week on my coastal food trails, I'm visiting County Sligo's Atlantic coast. And I'm starting my journey here in Ross's Point, at the entrance to Sligo Harbour. Ross's Point is home to Oyster Island, Coney Island and the Metal Man, a beacon in the form of a sailor who points ships to safety. This stunning coastline can be treacherous. Just north of Ross's Point is Striga Beach, where 3 Spanish Armada shipwrecks still lie. They sank during a severe storm in 1588, claiming the lives of 1,100 Spanish sailors and soldiers. I'm delighted to be back here in Sligo to meet some new chefs and producers, food smokers and coffee roasters. I'm starting my trails in Sligo town, and after some heavy rain, the Carrow River is flowing fast through the centre of the town, on its way from Lochgill and out into Sligo Bay. A short distance from the river is Hooked Restaurant, owned by Anthony Gray. You might think from the name that it's a fish restaurant, but in fact it's named after the meat hooks used in the butcher shop, which was run by Anthony's father Joe. The head chef here is Becky Sweeney.
Today we're doing a Sligo Bay lobster tail tostada.
Oh, that sounds really interesting. So tell me about the lobster.
We get our lobsters from Sligo Bay from Owen McLaughlin. So I'm just going to take the meat out of it.
Okay.
Just going to break through the shell. So we're just going to take the meat out.
Okay.
If you cook it properly, it won't stick to the shell.
Of course.
Essentially. The next thing we're going to do is a fennel slaw with a chipotle lime mayonnaise. So I have a mix here of red cabbage, white cabbage, and some shaved fennel.
Very finely shredded, I see.
Yeah, I like to use a mandolin as well because you get a great consistency. You can do it by a knife.
Fennel is great, isn't it?
Yeah,
in the salad.
it's great, yeah.
So it's the coleslaw you're kind of making, is it?
Yes,
okay.
yeah.
Wow.
I'm just going to get a little bit of the red cabbage, some of the white cabbage. It's just enough to cover the bottom of the tostada and have that little bit of crunch. So I just have a bit of plain mayonnaise. If you get a Kewpie mayonnaise as well, it's really great. It's a nice savoury Japanese-style mayo.
Yeah, what's this?
So it's a chipotle lime paste.
Chipotle lime.
Yeah, so that has a bit of a kick and it has that little bit of citrus as well.
The texture. And is there chilli in it or anything?
There is, yeah.
Wow.
Just mix it up.
That's lovely.
Just until it's combined.
And what's this here now?
So that's Pranny Radican's seaweed blend. She's created this blend, so it's a mix of green, brown and red seaweeds.
Brilliant.
She comes from a doctor's perspective, so it's the healthiest, most beneficial seaweeds to her. So I just have regular creme fraiche in here. It's a good way just to kind of kill a little bit of the heat of the slaw. I'm just going to put a fair amount of seaweed. I like the seaweed a lot. It's nice, it's salty and it's toasted as well, so it's a bit smoky.
Gorgeous.
And I'm just going to micropaint a little bit of lime zest as well. We already poached the lobster tail, but we're just going to bring it back up to heat so we can have it ready to eat and just add a little bit of garlic butter. So I just have a small pan here. I'm just going to bring it up to about medium-high heat. And I just have a little bit of Irish rapeseed oil.
Lovely.
So again, trying to use as many Irish ingredients as possible. My pan's hot enough, so I'm just going to add the lobster tail. Again, just to briefly heat it up.
Lovely. And then lots of butter.
Lots of butter. That's the only way to do it. And we're just going to baste it, so that's literally just tossing the butter over the fish just to get a nice coating. And we're going to hit it with a little bit of sea salt again. Again, seasoning throughout. So that's our lobster tail ready now. We're just going to drain it on a bit of paper just to take away the excess fat. And next we're going to plate our tostada.
Gorgeous. Okay, so what do we need for that?
So we're going to start off with a blue corn tortilla.
This is them here.
That's it. So that's the tortilla as is. Tostada is basically a deep fried taco in a sense. So I just deep fried it at 180 degrees for 1 to 2 minutes.
Great flavour.
Definitely, yeah.
And do you put sea salt as I see all that texture?
Yes, so I put it's like a seaweed salt and sesame seasoning. So this is the slaw we made earlier, and it's actually had a nice little bit of time there to marinate as well, which is always a good thing. Next, we're going to put on our lobster tail that we just poached and heated back up. So that's just going to go on top. Next, we're going to put on our seaweed crema.
Okay, this is it here.
So again, that was our...
There's one we made earlier.
That's it. So we're just going to do little dollops.
Yeah.
So again, that's our seaweed blend. I'm going to put on some pickled red onions. And then next, I just have some deep fried carrageen. So it's a nice... Do you want to try a bit there? It's
so does that come in fresh and then you just literally deep fry, is it?
It's dehydrated.
Oh, dehydrated.
So it keeps it nice and crispy.
Mm.
So it's just to add kind of like a bit of crunch.
And not too strong either.
Not too strong either. So it's all like the flavours of like a classic tortilla, but with all of...
Local.
Lobster. Exactly.
Your beautiful seaweed, you know, it doesn't get better. Your onions, everything.
That's it. I'm just going to serve this with a little seasonal side salad.
Okay.
So I just have some local greens, nice, fresh, simple, and we're just going to dress it with a tiny bit of rapeseed oil again. Just a simple little vinaigrette.
Gorgeous.
And that's it.
A lovely freshness there.
Exactly. That's
Now,
it.
I'm going to taste this. It looks so colourful, the way it's lobster. Oh, you can hear that? Wow, some very interesting flavours here. A little bit of everything. That's really good.
Thanks, Neven.
Very fresh. Lobster is very soft. Bit of a kick in it, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely with that chipotle lime.
That's a beautiful dish. Thank you so much for having me here
Thanks
today.
for visiting, Neven. Thank you.
Staying in Sligo town centre, my next stop is Pasta Fresca. The recently opened shop is owned and managed by Stella Venturi and her husband David Duffy. Stella is originally from Florence and she is responsible for making all the fresh handmade pasta and pasta sauces sold in the shop. Stella is making ravioli for me today and I asked her whether it's hard to make fresh pasta.
Absolutely not. It's really easy. You just need a couple of ingredients and a little bit of patience.
Okay.
And
So what are the ingredients we're going to use now for the pasta?
so we have two types of flour here. We have a 00 flour and a semolina flour, and we have fresh eggs. And that's all you need. But if you're at home, you can also use whatever flour you have at home for yourself.
Okay, so show me,
Yeah.
give me a masterclass in fresh pasta.
Okay, I'll do my best. I'm just going to create a little fountain, we call it.
Okay.
Or create a little bit of space in the middle for our eggs. So this is 300 grams of flour in total. So all you
the
do is
fork.
break in the eggs and slowly incorporate the flour to the eggs.
So there's no machine you doing this, it's by
No
hand.
machine, it's all by hand. You want to incorporate a bit of air in it, so the air will help the pasta to cook evenly
Okay.
and to not stick together too much.
And Stella, what is the difference in fresh pasta and dried pasta?
So the main difference is the eggs and the type of flour that is used.
Okay.
Obviously, dry pasta, 99% of dry pasta doesn't have eggs in
That's
it.
true.
So the protein value and everything changes.
I love the way you're doing that with the fork. You're just gently just combining it all together.
Yeah, so you don't want to push it down.
Okay.
You kind of want to push it up first so the air doesn't get out of it.
There's something very therapeutic about seeing someone make pasta or making it yourself.
Yeah, it's also very therapeutic doing it. All my anger goes pasta, all my...
You make a lot of pasta.
I do, yes. It takes a bit of strength.
So see what you're doing there, Stella. Is that what you call kneading it? Is this part of your hand here?
Yes, so you would lift it with your fingers and then roll it over and push it with the palm of your hand.
Fantastic.
So this is more or less ready now. We will take the one that I ready made yesterday. So this is ready to be rolled out. So I'm just dusting this a little bit. As you can see, it doesn't bounce back.
Yeah.
That means the gluten is relaxed.
And this is just a plain pasta now that you're making here.
Yes, so would be the base for tagliatelle, pappardelle, ravioli.
So this is the pappardelle. It's a wider one, is it?
Yes, it's a wider and thicker. That's a tagliatelle, classic.
And what's the most popular one here?
Probably tagliatelle,
This one
I'd
here?
say, yes. Tagliatelle and lasagne are definitely
This
two.
is very interesting. Never seen it.
That's a vegan dough, so it has no eggs. It's just water and a little bit of extra virgin olive oil, and it has beetroot in it. Okay, so when you have it more or less to this thickness, you can roll it through your machine.
And is that at the thickest setting?
So this is the thickest setting now. So as you go, you're gonna thin it out. So I'm just gonna cut this in half. For tagliatelle, for example, we say that the right thinness is when you can read through it.
So wafer thin, more or less, is it?
Yes, exactly. For ravioli, you can go a little bit thicker so they hold the filling inside. You know, you don't want the filling to spill. So this is the last time through the machine now. It's the right thickness for some ravioli. We have 3 fillings here. We have a local goat cheese from Leitrim Creamery with chestnut honey that comes from Tuscany.
And this one?
Then we have pumpkin and pecorino cheese. So the pumpkin is also local and the pecorino comes from Tuscany as well.
That's cooked already?
It is, yeah.
Okay, like
oven
a puree.
cooked.
What have we here?
And that's spinach from Knocknaray Farm and ricotta cheese from Italy. We have them here in the piping bags.
So which one do you want first now?
We might go with the goat cheese first. So I'm just gonna do 4 of each. Thank you. That's the pumpkin and pecorino.
So do you roast off the pumpkin or just mash it?
I did. I roasted off because you want it with not too much water in it.
So much colour.
I'm gonna stretch it a little bit by hand.
And there's no egg to stick it?
No, the dough is sticky enough. So what you do is you overlap it and then you gently press the borders. You have to be a bit firm but gentle at the same time.
Do you use any of these to cut them out?
Yeah, so you can use any of these pasta cutters. So that's a smaller one. That's obviously a big ravioli.
Square one. Which one are you going to use?
I might use the small one so we can do cute little ones. So you just stamp it down. That's all. It's not that hard.
Just like that. No, of course it's not.
Just
when
need a bit of
Florence,
patience.
it's even easier.
Yes.
When we were in Italy doing an Italian food trails, they describe fresh pasta as being silky when you cook it.
That's absolutely true. You also, like, it almost melts in your mouth.
That's it.
Yeah.
They look so good. So what happens next?
So we're gonna move to the kitchen, bring a big pot of boiling water to a rolling boil. We're gonna add some salt and let them cook for about 3 minutes, and then have some sizzling sage butter in a pan and toss them in for another minute or so very quickly, and then parmesan on top. They're ready to go. And here they are, all ready.
The smell.
So I'm gonna put some parmesan on top.
Wow, it's nice and brown, isn't it? It's lovely, the
Yeah.
butter. You'd find it hard to tell which had which filling.
I know,
You know, unless
it's a
you probably know.
surprise.
Oh, is it? Okay, yeah, that's the idea. Oh, I love it. And just parmesan and that's it.
Yeah, that's all it takes.
Gorgeous. Oh, look at that. Beautiful. Okay, I'm going to go over this one.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's so good.
Thank you.
Just beautiful. Love the pasta. Learned so much from you. Listen, Sligo is so lucky to have a gem of a shop
Thanks
like
a million.
this.
That's really nice of you, and thank you for visiting us.
It's my pleasure.
It's been a pleasure.
Now I'm going to finish this bowl.
Please.
Andrew Willis's family has been farming at Carrow, close to the sea, for 5 generations. Although he's involved with the family's vegetable farm, Andrew also roasts coffee beans at a small roastery he set up on the farm with his Italian wife, Paola.
So Neven, this is our coffee roaster, and it's what's called a drum roaster. So essentially it's a spinning drum with a gas burner beneath it. And the coffee beans are inside, spinning around, and that stops them from sitting on the hot metal for too long and burning. Luke has obviously preloaded the hopper up here.
Yes.
With some green beans. And here we've got an example.
This is then here.
And they're rock hard. And essentially what they are is the seed of the coffee tree.
Okay.
So yeah, coffee trees are about this size. And along the branches, you get these red fruits that look like cherries. And inside each of the coffee cherries, you've got 2 of these seeds. And that's what roasters like myself buy, and then we roast it in a roaster like this.
So there's no way you could make coffee from this now, at this stage?
You'd struggle. I think you might have to add very hot water and wait for 2 years before you got any flavour. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get the temperature ready for the start of our roast. So for this one, we're going to start at 210 degrees, and we're going to finish at 215 degrees. So there's not a huge difference. But obviously, when we put the cold beans in, the temperature is going to plunge, and then it's going to rise again slowly over the rest of the roast.
Okay.
Now we've reached 210 degrees, I'm going to release the coffee into the drum of the roaster.
Okay. Away it goes.
There you go, you can hear it going in.
Ah.
So
you can see it moving in there.
Absolutely, there it is, and you can see it being thrown around by the moving drum.
And how much was in that now that you put in there? How many kilos?
So there were 10 kilos of green coffee, raw coffee, that have gone into the machine. And in about 13 minutes' time, we're going to release the roasted coffee out into the cooling tray. But at that point, it'll only weigh 8.5 kilos. So there's 15% of water loss straight up the chimney. It's just interesting. We've obviously got some roasted coffee here from the previous roast.
Okay.
And you can see how different it is to the green coffee that we looked at earlier. It's quite a bit bigger, it's lighter, it's a lot more porous, and it's ready to be made into coffee, the drink. We need to get these out of the cooling tray before the next roast is ready. So I'm going to turn on the paddle here.
Okay.
Here we go. And then we've got this little door here that I'm going to open. And in she goes into the bucket down here. they'd be completely cooled by the fan that's beneath the cooling tray, sucking cold air down through the beans. We've released it when it's at its point of maximum flavour. We don't want it to cook anymore. Okay. So that's why we've got to stop it immediately with the cold air. And then we'll bag this and send it off to customers throughout Ireland, Sligo, the rest of Ireland. We have a few customers in Europe. So now we're approaching the end of the roast. And if we look in here, we can see that the beans really have taken on a different colour.
Big time.
And you can still hear a little bit of that popping going on. That's the last bit of water vapour bursting out.
And the smell. Oh.
And the smell is magic. The smell is magic.
I love it.
We've designed this profile for this bean to end at 215 degrees. So we're getting close to that. I can see we're on 214 now, so I'm going to turn on the fan down here. And I'm also going to turn on the paddle.
Okay.
And then I'm going to release the beans here out of the drum. Wow. And there they go. So hopefully now we've reached the point of maximum flavour, and we want the roast to stop immediately. That's why we have the cold air being sucked down through the beans. Okay, so they'll take another couple of minutes to cool down. All that's left to do is go and taste some coffee.
Sounds great.
So here we are, Neven. We're going to taste some of the coffees that we've just been roasting. Luke has prepared the coffees for us in a very particular way. This is how professional coffee tasters taste coffee. You weigh out 11 grams of coffee, and then you add 200 millilitres of water at 92 degrees. Let it brew for 4 minutes, and then you break the crust, send the grinds to the bottom, and skim off the crema off the top. So it's a standardized protocol, and the idea is someone tasting in Colombia or New York or Sligo, they can taste the coffee made in the same way and compare notes. So that's the whole idea behind it. So the way you test coffee is you take a small spoonful like that, and then you've got to slurp it. So try and...
What a slurp?
Yeah, slurping is good in coffee.
Okay. Okay.
Like that.
And why do you do that?
And the idea of doing that is you're pulverizing the coffee and throwing it up to your olfactory epithelium, which is this membrane in the head. And you pick up way more flavour when you do that than if you just drank it in the usual way. This is an African coffee from Kenya.
More slurping?
More slurping.
Okay.
Like that. And immediately you can taste it's quite different.
Very different.
Less of the nutty caramelly notes and more kind of fruit, black currant, blackberry, all the kind of classic traits of a Kenyan coffee. Okay, so let's taste the third and last coffee. And what's interesting about this one is it's the Gesha variety. So it's a sort of a subspecies or a varietal of Arabica, and it's very well known for its floral flavour notes. So we'll give it a go and see if you can detect any of that. Immediately, you can pick up it's very perfumed.
Yeah.
So all the same species, but three very, very different flavour profiles.
Andrew, that was absolutely amazing. From seeing the whole bean being roasted, all the different levels, and now to taste it, well, I've learned a lot about coffee. That's why I love it so much.
I'm delighted.
Thank you so much for your time.
You're very welcome.
My final destination is the Driftwood Smokehouse Restaurant, well named because it's located close to the shore, looking towards Oyster Island, and because the owner and head chef, Paddy O'Brien, is a smoked meat expert.
So we're going to cook smoked and braised beef cheeks. I got these beef cheeks from Burns Farm and Grange. They're bordbia quality short beef. So we're going to smoke it first. I'm going to season it with salt and pepper, and then it's going to go into our smoker. Our smoker, again, it's not gas assisted, it's a straight fire pit. We just use kiln dried oak, and it's in the fire pit below. And then the smoke comes up through the back and comes in. And usually we cook at about 100 to 120 degrees Celsius, so it's a really low and slow process.
Very good. You know, beef cheek is one of my favourite cuts. It's so full of flavour, isn't it?
Yeah, it's lovely. It's funny, it's gotten more popular recently, but Years ago, if you said beef cheek to someone, they'd say, no, thank you.
Yeah,
but,
it's true. So what's the first thing you need to do here?
So first of all, it's a simple seasoning. We just use sea salt and cracked black pepper.
And Paddy, is room temperature important when pork goes into the smoker?
Yeah, definitely. When the beef is at room temperature, actually the smoke penetrates it a lot quicker.
So season both sides?
Yeah, that's it. Very simple, nothing special, just salt and pepper, and then we put it in the smoker.
That's it. So we're ready to open the door.
Right, that's it. Ready
the big reveal.
Yeah. So, bit of smoke here.
Okay.
So I just have 2 beef cheeks I had in here already. They're not fully cooked. There'll be a lot of chewing on them if you were to eat them.
So now, so there's another stage.
Yeah, so we added a bit of carrots, chopped onions, some of our smoked garlic. So we also smoke garlic. So some star anise, and then just finish off with some red wine.
That's it.
Now that'll go into the oven now for about 3 to 4 hours at about 185 degrees Celsius.
And just nice and slowly braise it, is it?
That's it, exactly.
Wow.
When it's melting in your mouth.
Now, looking at your menu, you've got a lovely, interesting menu. And of course, smoke is the big thing. Where did you learn to smoke, first of all?
I was living in New York, and then afterwards I moved to London, and I just seen this. I was just looking for a new job, a different experience, and I seen this job online for apprentice pitmaster. I said, what's that? You know, something different. So applied for a job, and went into this. They're opening a new restaurant called the Big Easy in Covent Garden. I got the job straight away. I was just enthusiastic about it, and he said, "Sure, come on in, we'll try you out." It was a great experience. Learned a lot, and we decided then we were going to move back to Ireland. And I just thought, well, this is kind of new, unique concept. No one really knew about it. Kind of the experience now, so I decided I might open my own style of restaurant with that.
And how long are you opened here in Driftwood?
So we're open 6 years, the 1st of September. We also have 8 bedrooms upstairs. Every room is individually designed. Some of the rooms are looking onto the bay. They've got roll top baths looking out onto the water.
It's rested with rooms of boutique hotel.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So this is the beef cheek. These have been already braised.
Yeah.
The juices then we strain them, and then we reduce it down with wine and a little bit of sugar.
This is it here.
Yeah, exactly there. So it's like really rich and
gorgeous.
vibrant.
Look at that.
So you'll see now as I cut it down. You see there, you get that smoke ring there.
Smoke ring, you call it.
So the smoke sort of permeates the meat. It gets in and it creates that sort of pink ring around it. I just stick it in the pan.
You just slice it nice and thin, and then you're going to heat it up, is it?
That's exactly. So
there's going to be a real depth of flavour.
Yeah. So I just leave that on the low heat here. The rest of the dish was a bit of mashed potato.
Okay.
We're just going to add a bit of fresh horseradish. It's quite strong, even when you grate it there. You want to be in a well-ventilated area. So we're just going to glaze the carrots in a bit of our own smoked garlic butter and a bit of honey. We're ready to plate up here. Everything's ready.
Smells brilliant.
So we'll start with a bit of our horseradish mash.
I've never had smoked beef cheek.
There you go.
Ever. This is a first. Generous serving here. You're not going to go hungry out here.
No,
gorgeous. Look at that.
So there we go.
That's beautiful looking.
There we go.
Now, is it okay to taste it now?
Oh, of course, yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah,
I don't think I need a knife and fork for this.
No, I don't think so.
Look at that. Just flakes away. The wee bit of horseradish. It's lovely and sweet.
Yeah.
And smoky. It's so delicious. Well, I've learned a lot from you, to be honest with you. It's just a beautiful dish of food, and really, really enjoyed the whole experience. Thank you so much.
Oh, it's our pleasure, and thank you for popping by.
In the next episode, I'll be exploring Clonakilty in West Cork, a region celebrated for its artisan foods and well known for the black pudding that's made here. The fish is good too, served in one of the town's colourful bars. A trip to Cape Clear Island is a quick break from the great food on offer, including Bavarian-style pretzels. And I'll finish up with a delicious recipe for rack of lamb. I hope you'll join me.